Welcome back, guys. So recently I took a look at the brand new 8Bitdo arcade stick, unboxed it, reviewed it, gave you guys my thoughts and opinions on this thing. Check that video out if you've missed it. We tested a bunch of different classic mini edition consoles, the Raspberry Pi 400 running RetroPie, and the Nintendo Switch. It's also supposed to work on the PC, and I have tested on that. No problems whatsoever running through Steam and all that good stuff. But in that video, a lot of people were asking questions concerning compatibility with other devices. The main ones people were asking about was the Retrobit Super RetroCade and the MiSTer FPGA project. So both of those devices are pretty popular. I've covered them quite a bit on the channel, so it's only right to do this quick follow-up and test them out. And I know the Super RetroCade was a very popular device. I covered it quite extensively, and we've added games to it. It's a cool little thing, and I know it was recently released out in the UK, so that may be one of the reasons the interest has jumped back up again. And this 8Bitdo arcade stick is supposed to launch in the UK come January, I believe. So hey, gonna give you the heads up on this. Now, not to waste any of your time, we're just gonna go ahead and test this stuff out. So what I found with the Super RetroCade, testing it with both the 2.4 gigahertz adapter and going wired, is that it just doesn't want to work. If you want to play the games that are just already on the system or games that you have put onto an SD card and are loading them up that way, there's just something not functioning here. It's not a compatible controller. Now with this 8Bitdo arcade stick, there's a lot of options. You can go into switch mode, X input mode. You could change what the left stick does, if it's the left analog stick, the D-pad, or the right stick on a controller, whatever you want it to mimic. And messing around with all that stuff, I did wind up getting some action here where it began to register. So at one point it did just like boot me into a TurboGrafx 16 game, and it kept swapping between the 2-button and 6-button mode, and it seemed like it just kept pausing over and over again. Couldn't get any movement, reset everything, went wired, went wireless, changed all the different options on the controller, and it's just not working, not compatible. So no, do not buy this for the Super RetroCade from Retrobit. The RetroCade's an awesome little device, and there are a lot of controllers out there that work on it, but at the moment, I'm not figuring it out with this one. So if you're looking for a controller just for that Super RetroCade, I would say pass on this 8Bitdo arcade stick at this time until we can find maybe a workaround or something. But I've messed with it quite a bit more, even off camera, versus what I recorded here, and I'm not figuring it out, guys. So, yep, pass on that one. Now, the MiSTer FPGA, that's another big one that a lot of people had hit me up on. And given the nature of that project and how everything works, there shouldn't be any issue using this arcade stick on it via wireless through the 2.4 gigahertz adapter, or going wired, or if you have like a Bluetooth dongle or something attached, should be no issues. So I did test this with the 2.4 gigahertz adapter and wired, and it works just fine. So normally I use like a keyboard, a little mini keyboard, to access certain things. The one thing I noticed after I got this controller set up to use on MiSTer is that P1 and P2 button, which are your macro buttons, if you set those up through the Ultimate software, through the 8Bitdo's program that they provide, those buttons don't register as anything. They're not recognized for this system, for the MiSTer FPGA. So that was kind of annoying a little bit, because I would have loved to be able to use those for the menu button. So I just skipped those and just left it to either using the buttons on my actual MiSTer case or using my keyboard. I use this little RII, whatever you want to call it, controller / keyboard. I love these things. I used to have just one of the mini keyboards, and then I discovered that they made one that was a mini keyboard with a controller built into it, where you just flip a switch and it's keyboard mode plus mouse mode. You do have that little touchpad, and then you could swap it to controller mode. It's not the greatest controller in the world, but it's damn handy, and for being under $30, thought it was pretty cool. If you're interested, I'll throw a link in the description so you could check that out. I love it, but it doesn't necessarily replace, a good controller. It's just kind of nice to have. So yeah, that was my only real issue with MiSTer, with this, 8Bitdo arcade stick, is that those P1 and P2 buttons are not working for me. Kind of hope they would have, but I can get away without having to use them. playing games like Street Fighter, as long as I'm getting my button mapping correct per core that I'm using this on, there's absolutely no issues, and there shouldn't be. Latency-wise, from what I'm hearing, going through 2.4 gigahertz on MiSTer is phenomenal. It's actually supposed to be better from, like, other people had mentioned to me that there's been some tests out there. It's actually better than going wired. That's pretty crazy to me, but hey, it all really boils down to the boards that are used in these devices on how they're going to work and function. But going 2.4 gigahertz, that's really the best bet for me. That's what I wanted to use this controller as on most of my devices. And being able to use it on MiSTer, on Switch, on Raspberry Pi, on the PlayStation Classic, for example, wirelessly and having very low latency, pretty awesome stuff. So hey guys, just wanted to keep this one quick. Thanks for watching. With that said, I will catch you guys next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye.